Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar on driving booth traffic. This is Lisa Girardi with the Chicago Dental Society, and I want to give you some preliminary information as it relates to our return to the in-person meeting at McCormick Place next month. We recently sent out 2 e-blasts based on the state of health and safety in the city of Chicago. And we wanted to let you know that the midwinter meeting is taking place as an in-person meeting only. There is no virtual component to the midwinter meeting. We will be meeting at our scheduled dates of February 24 through 26, 2022 at McCormick Place's West Building. On this screen, there are some links to the health and safety resources, but please know we are following the City of Chicago's health and safety mandates, which does not require proof of vaccination to attend trade shows at McCormick Place, to go into scientific sessions, or to go on the exhibit floor. The new ruling that was put in place as of January 3rd refers to restaurants, sit-down restaurants. So at McCormick Place itself, there are a few restaurants or food venues that offer sit-down service where you will be required to show a proof of vaccination along with your photo ID. That would be the La Brea restaurant on level 2, the Overlook Cafe on the exhibit floor, the exhibitor lounge, which is located under the Overlook Cafe, and then the restaurant 375 ABC, which is on the concourse level, level 3. Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, any point of purchase food carts that are spread around are considered 5 to 10 minute transactions that does not require proof of vaccination. So I just wanted to set the record clear that that is the state of where we are as of today, January 13. We will keep you posted if things change, as we're all on this roller coaster ride together, and we will keep you updated. But again, if you have any questions, hear any misinformation, get any emails, please contact me and I'll give you the true scoop. So with that said, it is my pleasure to introduce to you America's leading expert on exhibiting productivity and performance. He is our trade show expert of choice, who's created our exhibitor ROI Center and leads the E3 Exhibiting Effectiveness Evaluation Program. Please join me in welcoming Jefferson Davis.
All right, thank you, Lisa. And again, thank you to everybody being here. If you are as excited as Lisa and I are about getting back to live exhibiting, go to your question tab right now and give us a yes, let's go, let's do this. We can't wait. It's been way too long. Let me hear from you, those of you that are excited to get back to this, as I know most of us are. As Lisa mentioned with the virtual, we got pushed into virtual, and I think we gave it all we had, but if we learned anything, nothing replaces the excitement, the energy, and the value of getting face-to-face, right, with the dental community. And we can't wait to see all of you in Chicago here in several weeks. So we've got some comments coming in. Anna's got a big yes with a triple exclamation point. Suzanne's telling me, let's do this. We're ready to go. I'm excited. So, all right. Now, so what I've been doing, live trade shows began reopening in the middle of last year. And I went to the first big trade show in America the first week of June that reopened. It was called the World of Concrete. And over the next 6 months, I had been to about 6 or 7 shows. And I've been polling exhibitors through my webinars, talking to them live, and through LinkedIn. I've done polls on different LinkedIn exhibitor groups. And I'm going to run the poll with you, and then I'm going to share what I've been finding. And I want to see if your concerns line up with what we've been learning. So the poll is live right now. The question is, what has been your single biggest concern about returning to live exhibiting? Number one, safety to travel. Number two, safety to gather in crowds. Number three, reduced event attendance. Will there be enough people there, and will there be enough for me? Number four, cost justification. Your business has been negatively impacted from the pandemic. You really need to be able to justify the spend, and or there's increased pressure to generate ROI. And maybe it's something else. And if it's something else, if you would be so kind as to just click the question button and type whatever that other might be, and that will give us a kind of a handle on what your concerns are. So about 63% of you have polled so far. If you haven't done so, please do so right now. I want to get this poll above 80%. Okay, so take a moment, and I see another question coming in. Go ahead, keep those responses versus coming in. Okay, let's see. So we do have a other that got submitted. I'll give you just another second, and then I want to share the results. Last chance. I'll give you a countdown on 3, on 2, 1. Last chance to poll. 75% of you have polled. Come on, a few more. Get me over the 80. We're almost there. 76%. Those of you who haven't looked up, if you're looking at your phones, come back with me. 78%. Last chance on 3, on 2, on 1. Here we go. I'm going to share the results. And this mirrors exactly what I've been finding everywhere that I've been conducting this poll, not only in the dental industry, but in several different industries. All of them are B2B industries. So the number one concern that you're voicing is reduced event attendance. Will there be enough of the right dental professionals there? And can you get enough of the right people to your booth? That number, by the way, 57%, falls in line with the cumulative of all the surveys I've done, which was 54%. Number two, cost justification, pressure to generate return on investment. That was number two. So you are lining up perfectly with the polls I've done in all the other industries, and it actually follows in the exact order. Number three, safety to gather in crowds. Number four, safety to travel, and other. And let me take a look and see if I can get a handle on what the other might be. Someone mentioned vaccinated versus unvaccinated attendees as a concern. One person mentioned that as an other. Okay, so the good news, we're going to address these things today. What I want to do in these next 30 minutes is get you dialed in, get you focused, give you some very specific things to work on over these next several weeks to make sure that you are positioned to win at the midwinter meeting. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Okay, the first thing in winning the game of exhibiting is going to be your ability to attract the right people, right? So there are three kind of target groups that you want to focus your efforts on when it comes to exhibiting at a trade show. And you may have seen this triangle with me before through your previous webinars I've done for CDS. I call it the CPS Triangle. And this is how you ensure that you have a booth full of high value interactions. So you start with your existing customers. And I put them in red because you should never go into a key show like the midwinter meeting and not reach out and touch your customers. Chances are you may have not had face-to-face contact with them for a year or more. It has been very difficult to get into dental practices. My wife just went last week here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she had her cleaning done. And, they still had her when she walked in. There was a sign in the door, only people with appointments. And they took her temperature, and she had to have a mask on. And They had to do hand sanitizer. And so, you know, the ability to get into dental practices for salespeople and dealers and distributors is challenging, right? So you probably haven't spent FaceTime with your customers for a while. So what I want you to do is build a list of every one of your active and your recently inactive customers and invite them to the show. You know, this is the chance for you to make a deposit in the relationship bank account, you know, inquire for additional opportunities within the account, keep your ears to the ground for change. For example, the dentist who I had a personal relationship with for the last several years just sold the practice, and he retired and sold it to 2 new people, you know. And so as you know, when the owner of a practice changes, you know, their suppliers that they favor may change too. So keeping your ears to the ground for change. And endorsement or advocacy. You know, you have customers that love you love your people, love your company, and that's where you start, right? Start with your existing customers. You never go into a key show without reaching out and touching them. Why? The competition will be knocking at the door very loudly, and today's customers, with all the change, are using trade shows to revalidate existing buying relationships. So that's your first action item. I want you to get together with your sales team, your dealers, your distributors, create a list of all customers who have or are likely or could attend, and reach out and touch them. Now, I'll give you some ideas on what to say in that in a moment. Next, talk to your sales team, your dealers, your distributors, and identify all of the prospects who are currently in your sales pipeline. These are people that you're in active dialogue with about some form of a purchase, and use the energy and the excitement and the educational sessions and your product demo and your technical experts. Use that to move these prospects one step closer, maybe closure. So here's the action item. Have your sales team put together a list of every prospect they are now engaged with. Have them identify where are they in the sales cycle, and have them determine how can they use the midwinter meeting and your exhibit and your technical experts and your product demos to move these people forward. This is the low-hanging fruit. This is where the quick cash flow from trade shows is hiding. You know, and by the way, your number 2 concern on this webinar today was, you know, cost justification and pressure to produce ROI. This is low-hanging fruit. You know, over my career in working with clients that I know of, we've pulled over $800 million off the floor from trade shows. When in the early days, when I was working with a company that developed the intraoral camera, I was with them for 19 shows. We were writing $1 million, $1.5 million, $3 million on the show floor in signed contracts, right? Some of that was new, but a lot of that had to do with prospects that were in our sales pipeline. So that's your second big assignment. Number 3, your new contacts, the blue side. These are accounts that you think are a good fit for you, but you have no meaningful engagement, no dialogue. So what you're trying to do is open the door, put a face with a face, get a meeting of the minds. So make a list of new contacts, okay? And so create a clear profile of what types of practices, who within the practice, what their problems, needs, situations are likely to be, and anybody who has inquired into your products or services over the last 12 to 18 months. You see, CDS is going to spend every dime and every dollar they can to get as many professionals, dental professionals, to Chicago, into McCormick Place, and into the exhibit hall. They're going to do their part, but you got to do your part, okay? And if you just rent space and you just show up and you just hope that out of 300, 400, 500 booths that they happen to pass by your booth, you're probably going to struggle. And we don't want you to do that. So what I want you to get crystal clarity on right now, who are the right people for you? The magic is in the mix. Customer, prospect, new contacts. Okay, next. Number one concern, everyone of, not everyone, but 57% of you voiced on this poll was, I'm concerned about reduced attendance. Well, here's the key thought here, and please write this down. It really doesn't matter if there are 5,000, 15,000, or 30,000 dental professionals at the show. It really doesn't matter. I know you're saying, Jefferson, come on, have you lost your marbles here? I'm like, no. And I say that for a very specific reason. The major question is not, how many people are going to be there. The major question is, will there be enough of the right for you? So grab your pen, grab your calculator. Let's do this formula right now. You see, because at the end of the day, trade shows are about face-to-face contact. They're about engagement, right, with dental professionals. And you do not have an unlimited capacity. In fact, you have a very limited capacity. And when you know what that capacity is, your life is going to get so much easier. So let's do this formula together. Now, we're going to plan to win from what happens in your exhibit. Anything that happens in the golden hours in the morning and the entertaining hours in the evening, we're not even going to factor that in here. That'll be the icing on the cake. I want you to win from the biggest spend area, which is going to be your exhibit. So the CDS Midwinter meeting has 23 exhibiting hours. That is your field of opportunity. Okay. Now, question, how many staffers are you going to have in your booth on duty on average over those 23 hours? The staffing rule of thumb is 50 square feet per staffer. Okay, so if you're in a 10 by 10 booth, you got the space for 2 staffers. Now, that number, as you get larger, some of you are in bigger footprints. There is a saturation point where that number saturates. For those of you who are in larger booths, back out your exhibit furnishings, your property, and your product displays, and use your open square footage to determine your staffing number. So what I want you to write down right now is how many people are going to be standing in that booth on your team who are there to engage dental professionals. In my example, it's 2. Now, listen carefully. I want you to pick a target number of interactions per hour per staffer. When I say interaction, I mean somebody in your booth is talking to a dental professional, a visitor. It's a face-to-face interaction. It could be a customer, it could be a prospect, it could be a new opportunity, right? So I want you to pick a number between 3 and 5. 3 is conservative, 4 is moderate, 5 is possibly slightly aggressive. I want you to pick one of those numbers, and I want you to multiply those numbers together. And now your life is going to get so easy, because in this example, you have the capacity to interact with 138 dental professionals in your exhibit over the course of the show. Lisa, ballpark, what are we expecting in terms of dental professionals this year at the show?
Well, we are publicizing our live numbers to our website so that any exhibitor can view. Currently, we have 10,844 people participating. This represents 48 states and 32 countries. But for dentists, we have 3,107 dentists who have registered to attend Midwinter.
Thank you. Thank you. So here's the thing, and by the way, Lisa, I have so much respect for the way you are transparent and specific in your numbers. So many shows just use gross numbers and round numbers, and they don't share specifics. And we as exhibitors are left wondering how many people are really there. So here's what you just heard. When you ran your exhibit, by the way, everybody on this webinar right now, go to your question tab right now, and I want you to just type in your exhibit interaction capacity. And by the way, if you're freaking out and you're going, oh my God, Jefferson, I can't really nail it down exactly, just take a swing at it. I want to know that you understand this formula, because this is what you're really buying. In my example here, you're buying the opportunity to put your company identity, your products, and your staff face to face with 138. You may get more, you may get a little less, but I tell you what, clarity is power, and knowing your outcome is power. So let me take a look at some of these numbers that are coming in here. Shelby, thank you, 552. Hillary, Nicholas, 207. Jackie and Anne Marie, 276. Colleen, 276. So, ladies and gentlemen, your life has just gotten so much easier, because all you have to do to win the game, listen to, and let me say this very strongly, to win the game before kickoff, before the doors even open, write this down. Here's all you got to do. Get in the mind, get on the agenda of that many of the right people. And I'm telling you, you've won the game before the show opens. They're going to walk into that exhibit hall with you on their mind and you on their agenda. And anything that falls into your booth from the aisles is like the icing on the cake. Okay? So most exhibitors don't know what we're talking about here. They don't do what we're talking about here. They have no science. They have no formulas. They wing it. And then they make all kinds of mistakes. And then they blame the show. They go, oh, that show doesn't work, or trade shows don't work. Well, you know, when I first developed this formula many years ago, right? Many years ago, I was teaching this in a live seminar in San Francisco, all the way back in the mid 90s. And I had a lady, you know, and asked them to write what their goal was for the show. And she wrote down, she said, I want to capture at least 500 qualified leads by closing time. And I taught her and had her run her exhibit interaction capacity, and her exhibit interaction capacity was 247. So here's the question. How could she get 500 leads if she only had the capacity for 247 interactions? Qualified face-to-face leads. You see, when you have the numbers, you know, and you bring some science to this, because what I can project from here is that a percentage of these interactions will convert to an opportunity or a lead, and a percentage of those opportunity or leads will convert to a sale. And if I know what my company's average sale amount is, I can predict my return on investment within 5 percentage points. I've been doing this for 30 years. We've been able to pull over $800 million out of shows. So the numbers tell the story. So I hope this, for all of you on this webinar, if you got nothing else out of this piece, I hope this understanding that there's going to be over 10,000 dental professionals, and you only need, in the examples you submitted, from 207 to 552, you absolutely can win this game. But you got to do your part, right? You can't just do what I call exhibit by hope, which is rent space, show up, and hope. And that's why you're here today. So I'm so pumped you guys and gals are with me here today. So let's keep rolling here. Okay, so now I've kind of had you answer 2 big questions. Who are the right people? You have 3 different categories. How much is enough? Let's get into what are we going to do to attract them to our booth. All right, I think the first key is to get into the mind of your customer and understand, why do these people attend meetings and expos? Well, I'll tell you why they attend. In the dental and the medical community, the #1 reason they come to learn, right? Now, they learn through the scientific sessions, they learn through the labs, they learn through posters, but you know where else they learn? In your booth. You are the subject matter expert on what you do. And if you make learning something that's going to help them improve their patient care, their practice management, perform safer, more profitable dentistry, they'll come running to your booth. So I want you to step away from your product or your service, and I want you to ask yourself, what can you, in a 3 to 5 minute interaction in your booth, what can you teach somebody that they can take back to the practice and improve either their patient care, their practice management, or their profitability, right? If you dangle learning, they'll come running to your booth. Networking, they come to rub elbows. They come to what's changed, what's new, what are other dental practices doing, what are other dentists doing. They come to engage, they come to interact with our colleagues, with you, right, with key opinion leaders, and they come for shopping, sourcing, purchasing, and as I mentioned earlier, revalidating buying situations. So if you have a product or service that is a consumable, if you have a short sales cycle product that is easy for them to make a buying decision live, then make sure that you design a good offer and a good show special to get them to take action while they're there. Right? But don't just base it on whatever orders you might write on the show floor, because that's the low-hanging fruit, right? You got to capture those leads and you got to follow up. Whatever you get on the show floor is like the tip of the iceberg. And if you've ever seen an image of an iceberg, you know, you see this big thing on the top of the water, it looks huge. But when you see what's under the water, it's 3 to 5 times bigger than what's on top of the water. And that's the same thing with leads at a trade show. What you get on the show floor is minuscule compared to what you can get over time if you capture good leads and you follow up and you stay in touch with dental professionals, okay? And they come to have fun. You know, we've all been locked down and isolated and separated and fear-mongered and everything else. And I'm telling you what, everybody wants to have fun now, right? Everybody wants to get out, right? And so how can you bring fun into your exhibit experience? Okay, something to teach them, network with them, provide them information to influence purchasing decisions, some form of fun element into your booth. And if you align your offer or your value proposition with one or more of these reasons, you'll have a booth full of interested, excited, qualified visitors. Okay, having fun, for example, the last show that I exhibit at, I market a service training, right? So I'm like, you know, it's harder when you have a service, right? You don't have a physical product you can display and do a demo on. So I used gamification. I had a trivia game called the 60-second exhibitor challenge. How well do you know your exhibitors? And I had 2 iPads on the corner of the screen, and I had a leaderboard, and people were having fun with it. I used data, I used information about my company, I used research, and I used it as my hook. And it was fun, and it was fast, and they learned something, and they could win something. So I used an interactive educational approach through a game, a trivia game on a touchscreen, had a leaderboard. I had people coming back multiple times over the show trying to raise their score to move farther up on the leaderboard, right? So that's what I'm going to ask you, okay, how many of these strategies, how many of their reasons for attending, how many of these can you integrate into your exhibit experience? Because if you do, you're going to have a packed booth, okay? Next, your value proposition. When you think about who your customer is, and you think about what your products or services are, and you think about the opportunities that they create, and you think about the problems that they solve, and you think about the efficiencies that they deliver, right? You got to come up with your value proposition. That's the message that you're going to send to get people to go, I got to go to this booth, man. You know what? If there's any booth I'm going to at Midwinter Meeting, it's this one. It's the value prop. So think less about your products and think more about the problem you're solving or the challenge you're helping them address. In my example, right? So I, as a service producer, was selling like this, exhibitor training programs. But I didn't talk about exhibitor training programs. You know what I talked about? Reducing exhibitor churn. I talked about increasing exhibitor satisfaction and retention. You see, people don't buy a drill bit. What they really buy is a hole, right? So think less about your products and think more about problems, challenges, opportunities. What's something useful that you can teach them quickly that's going to add value to their patient, to their practice, patient management, their practice management, you know, their chairside manner. What? Teach them something. I built learning into my experience. Some of the data that I was using, these people had no idea. One of the questions I asked is, what is the average exhibitor retention rate for a B2B trade show? 80% of the people that took the answer got it wrong. They learned something, right? What are they going to gain? What are they going to save? What are they going to achieve? Or what are they going to avoid by visiting your booth? Okay. Now, so let me give you a quick example from my intraoral camera days when I was really running around dental shows all around America. When I first partnered with this company, they were talking about the technology and the bits, bytes, and bauds. And I said, hey, you know what? People don't care about that. Why should a dentist buy an intraoral camera? Well, we came up with three things. Number one, to reduce the consultation time. Number two, increase the patient acceptance of the prescribed treatment. And number three, get their insurance claims processed faster. That's what we talked about in our marketing. Hey, what if you could cut your consultation time in half, double the patient acceptance of your recommendations, and get your insurance claims processed 50% faster? I'm telling you, we had a booth full of interested dentists when we took that approach. That's what I want you to think about, because your value proposition gets integrated into your pre-marketing. It gets integrated into your exhibitor description. It gets integrated into your exhibit graphics. It gets integrated into your presentation demonstration in the booth. When you find your value prop, you've got the keys to the vault. You will have a booth full of visitors. This is the most important message that every single business needs to nail: a crystal clear and compelling value proposition that speaks to the heart and the mind of your customers. Okay, so what are you going to do to get them there? Okay, you've determined who are the right, how much is enough, you know, the importance of finding your value prop. Now you're going to communicate your value prop. Okay, segmented lists. For example, the way you speak to the dentist will be different than the way you speak to a hygienist or an assistant in your marketing. Okay, the way you speak to a customer who you are doing business with will be different than the way you speak to a prospect that's in the sales pipeline. So as you build your lists, and by the way, how big should your lists be? Write this down: 3 to 5 times your exhibit interaction capacity. So for the person who had the 270, you're going to want your list to be in the 270 times 3 is going to be around, I don't know, 810 range, 800 range, right? 3 to 5 times your interaction capacity. Start marketing now, right? Start marketing now, because this show is, about 6 weeks away. Number 3, try to land 3 direct touch points with your target visitors. And it works best through multiple media. Don't just email, right? Use as many media as you can. Email's okay, but I tell you what, with junk and spam filters and the volume of email we're getting, don't try to win the race with a one-legged horse. Use social media: LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, maybe TikTok. I don't know if your audience is on there. Web landing pages. And I tell you where the competition is really light: in the mailbox. An oversized postcard, a 5.5 by 8.5, 4-color postcard with a CDS logo, a strong value proposition: see, do, learn, get, right? You can get these postcards printed, mailed out the door for about $1 a card, right? Remember that value prop. There are 4 key words that really define what are they going to see, what are they going to learn, what are they going to do, and what are they going to get by visiting your booth, right? This is stuff you can do on your own. So, okay, take a look at the educational sessions. Here's a pro tip, and ask yourself, what topics, what sessions relate to what you do, right? Promote those sessions. Now, if you're doing a session, of course, promote it, but promote those other sessions. Say, hey, by the way, after you attend this session, come on over to our booth to continue the learning, to bring questions, to discuss the topic. So look at that. That's a really powerful strategy that few exhibitors use. Make sure all of your marketing has a crystal clear call to action. Put us on your My Show planner. Write booth 2484. bring this card or this email to the booth to get this or that. Every communication piece must have a clear CTA, a call to action. Okay. Number 8. Number 7, rewards. Now, when we were doing the intraoral cameras, what we picked as the reward, we did a mailer, and we put a golf tee in it with the dentist's name on it. We said, bring this by the booth. We got 99 more waiting for you. We were able to get personalized golf tees, 100 golf tees for about $7 with the dentist's name engraved on them. We mailed them out to 300 pre-registered attendees. 172 of those dentists showed up at our booth. Over 70 of them had the golf tee in their hand. Okay, rewards, contests. Okay, and consider a higher level reward for people that are willing to schedule and complete appointments. And be sure to use a calendaring tool like Calendly, which makes it quick and easy for somebody to click and set an appointment that shows up on your calendar and their calendar. Okay. So these are DIY, do-it-yourself things that you can do. Social media, look, here's an example. Unsafe working conditions affect workers' health and productivity. Brand positioning, here's how they were talking about how they pivoted themselves from service delivery automation to the workflow workhorse for business. Sharing data and research, just like I did with you on the polling here. People love to hear the latest in the data. What research do you have that you can access, that you can share? Use this, promote it through social media. Come see us at, right? Landing pages, web pages are pretty, landing pages are profitable. Here's an example, and these are quick and easy to create today. There's companies like Lead Pages and others out there that for about 99 bucks, you can set these up and you can create event-specific landing pages. Look at this one for Workaday. Look what they did here. Clean design, clear brand identity. Look at a call to action. Engage with us. See us in action. Pre-schedule a demo. Attend our session. Add to a calendar. Come to our group demo. Add to the calendar. Right? Click here. Learn more. Notice the word learn. Look, learn more. Learn more. Request a demo. Right? So landing pages, event-specific landing pages, a key part of your pre-marketing because you can communicate your value prop and you can secure a visitor commitment right from the landing page. Okay. Now, CDS, also what I want you to look at. We were talking about do it yourself. Things that CDS has available to you. If you look on the advertising side, the CDS Review, the membership magazine, the Midwinter official program. This is the guide. And what's great about this is they not only carry it with them at the show, they take it home and it has a 1-year shelf life. The mobile app, right? Look into what's available on the mobile app. The majority of people are now using the mobile app. The Midwinter Meeting Daily Review, which is also a PDF download, and digital advertising opportunities. Take a look at what's available through CDS and sponsorships, right? What's available through sponsorships. Okay, so be sure to take a look at these if you have not already. You know, we're getting close. Some of these may not still be available, but go to the site, check out the opportunities. Now, let me close this part because I'm going to run out of time here if I'm not careful. I'm close here. 7 tips. How do you get a high response rate to your marketing? What's the 7 best things? Number 1, crystal clarity. Don't just blast a message to everybody. That value proposition, their radio station is tuned to WIIFM. What is in it for me? Your ability to articulate that value proposition as to why I would have to be an idiot not to come to your booth, right? It's problems you can solve. See, do, learn, get. Multiple media. The magic is in the mix. Don't try to win the race with a one-legged horse. Those call to actions, don't leave them guessing. What do I do after I read this email? What do I do when I visit your landing page? What do I do when I look at your social media post? Tell them exactly what you want. Click here to do this, schedule this, and your reward. If you add a unique reward to, especially when you're going to ask for calendaring and appointments, it'll increase your response rate through the ceiling. Okay, so I know I'm going fast, so I have a couple more slides here. I want to talk about interacting with visitors, but take a moment now, take a breath, and ask yourself, if there were one question I could ask about driving traffic to my booth, what would that question be? Type it. Go ahead and do that now. All right. So let's talk staff preparation here. Okay. Lisa talked a little bit about this up front. CDS is going to do everything they can do to try to make this meeting feel the same as it was before COVID, right? I think we're all COVID fatigued. If we never hear the word again, it'll be too soon. You know, they're implementing a few safety measures, the mandatory wearing of masks. That's a Chicago indoor. There will be deep cleaning. There will be more touch-free, more hand sanitizer, wider aisles, and cross aisles. Okay, and at this time, CDS is not mandating the proof of vaccine. Only the food service things that Lisa talked about early. You know what? There will be 3 days of exhibits. CE is going to be offered each day in the exhibit hall, which drives the dentists into the hall. There's a member dentist rebate program, so that encourages them to write orders at the show floor. There's a corporate learning theater with 9 lectures by you. Hopefully some of you are going to be presenting those sessions, and there will be dental student poster sessions. Okay, so let me give you some tips on getting your staff ready to interact with visitors in, maybe they haven't been at a trade show for a while, right? Number one is make sure everybody is up to speed on the health and safety protocols that are happening at the convention center, that are being implemented by CDS pre-event. And also really keep health and safety top of the mind with your staff day to day at the show. I would encourage customer meetings, maybe trying to hold those out of the booth, maybe in a satellite space or out. I don't think in a pandemic environment that you want to have an overcrowded booth. I think there are people that are going to be nervous about entering an overcrowded booth. I think having not too few staff, but don't overstaff. Don't have, especially if you're all wearing the same shirts. I look in the booth and there's 12 people wearing a green shirt in a 20 by 20 booth. That's going to look intimidating. And in general, just look to have more open space in your booth. Be very sensitive to people's body language. People will show you through their eye contact and their body language how willing or unwilling they are to physically engage. Okay, so just pay attention. If someone enters your booth slowly and they kind of drift away from your staff and mosey over to your product demo, give them the space to do that. Don't pounce on them. Don't get in their space too fast. Be a little more passive in your engagement than in the past. The days of standing out, on the perimeter of the booth and kind of, trying to grab everybody that passes by, a little more passive right now. When you do approach visitors, slowly and keep your distance. The rule of thumb now, I know social distancing and all that, but honestly, if you stick your right arm right out now, that would be a good rule of thumb right there. Arm's length distance, at least, right? For now, and again, watch what they do. Hey, if a dentist walks in and extends his hand to shake hands, I'm going to shake his hand, right? But I'm probably going to be a little less proactive on me leading that behavior, just to respect that people are still, with Omicron and everything, people are still concerned. Just watch for their preference. People, again, will tell you, hand sanitizer, keep your hands clean, tissues in the booths, simple stuff like that. Try to, if someone's sneezing or coughing, try to go into a tissue. Keep your hands off your face, and especially the exterior of masks, and know where the event health stations are located. These are some simple things to think about for your booth staff to make sure everyone is on the same page and comfortable. Let's talk about engaging. I know I'm running a few minutes behind here. I'll be done in about 3 minutes and we'll go to Q&A. The most important thing I can say here is, if you don't know the person, make the human bond before you go for the business bond. The first buying decision when people are making a buying decision is people. It's people, company, product, money, and time to buy. And the first buying decision is your people. Okay? Do I like you? Do I trust you? Am I comfortable with you? Are you the kind of person I would do business with? And attendees make very quick judgments about your people, which transcend to your company and your products based on your staff, right? So here's the simple process that you can use when people enter your booth. Number one, as we said, don't pounce, keep your distance, greet them like you're glad to see them. Hi, hello, how you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, right? Number two, verbally welcome them to your booth. Hey, welcome to Competitive Edge, welcome to whatever. Number three, don't read their name off the badge. Introduce yourself. My name is Jefferson Davis, and you are. Get the visitor to introduce themselves, and then ask an open-ended discovery question. When a visitor walks into your booth on their own volition, the question is, what brings you by? Or if you have product displays and they're looking at a product display, just ask them, hey, Dr. Smith, I noticed you were looking at our hand instruments. Tell me a little bit about your interest. Those are both open-ended questions. What brings you by? If they haven't landed on anything, I noticed you were looking at, tell me a little about your interest. And now you have done 4 things. You've greeted them, you've welcomed them, you've got onto a first name basis with them, and you've shown interest in them by asking that open-ended question. Okay, next. I thought I had another piece in here, but I don't. So the ROI Center. Okay, let's talk about this as we close this down. And I've hit you with a lot here. Okay, if you have not downloaded these 4 management tools, the 16-week planning tool, the cost control tool, the staff evaluation tool, and the measurement tool, please go grab those. They're the same tools I use when I work with clients who have paid me anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 as a consultant and trainer. The 5 planning exercises, if you haven't downloaded those, they're PDFs. You can use them for every show you do. Go download those. We have a lot of webinars up there. We've got articles, and we have the ability for you at any time to submit questions that would come to me and my team. So this exhibit at ROI Center, visit it often, share the link with your team. This is a value-added part of your exhibit package. There's over $10,000 of proven trade show productivity training and resources on this. It's all free. It's all part of your package. So with that, I am going to take a look at the question queue. I've gone a few minutes over. Lisa, I'd like to have you come back for a moment and just kind of, any closing thoughts or anything that I might have rushed over or glossed over?
Just to be focused that everything is changing as it is, as you're experiencing in your own states. And just know, if you have a question, if you hear something that sounds odd, please reach out to us and we will let you know what the true skinny is. Also, if you have not taken advantage of the complimentary lead retrieval license that we provide, 1 complimentary license per exhibitor, please do so. If you can't find that email that I sent a while ago, please let me know and I'll be happy to forward it to you again, because all attendees, including exhibitors, will have a barcode on their badge, and if you scan it, you do have their contact details so you can do any post-show follow-up.
Okay, thank you. I got 1 question, Lisa, for you, and I think you mentioned it earlier, but perhaps they didn't hear it. How many US-based dentists did you say have registered as of today?
The attendance is a day behind, so as of yesterday, we had 3,107 dentists. That's from 48 states and 32 countries. I don't have the attendance broken down by state or country yet.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to add to that. I just spoke with a friend of mine who does outsourced show management for 70 shows in all types of industries, including medical. And he told me that right now that the critical mass on registration is hitting about 4 weeks before the event, that people are waiting closer to the event to register. So if CDS already has 3,100 plus dentists registered, that number is probably going to skyrocket here over the next 3 to 4 weeks. And so I think you're off and running. I think that is a tremendous pre-reg. I don't think there's a single exhibitor on this webinar that cannot win at this game, given what you're bringing to them. So that brings another question, which Chuck asked me. Chuck says, assuming all the tools you provided are implemented, how does a small company compete with, the big fish? The key, Chuck, is focus, number one. Get crystal clear on who your ideal customer is. Number two, the value proposition. Number three, the unique selling proposition. What makes you, your people, your company, and your product different and better than the competition? There's a lot of people today, especially with all the talk about big companies and conglomerates and, like Amazon taking over, that want to support the little guy. And so there's no harm or foul in really emphasizing that you're a small business. But here's the key. If you're going to win their business, the value proposition, why should they do business with you at all? And what makes you, your product, your services different or better? Chuck, there are really only two questions in marketing or selling. Why at all and why you? And it's your job as a marketer to be able to find the answers and make those answers a critical part of your marcom. And hey, and by the way, be friendly and make your people a big part of the buying process. Because again, we said there's 5 major buying decisions when people are making a purchase: people, company, product, money, and time to buy. Okay, and the magic of the trade show is that you can really get them to check off on the people, the company, and the product. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have to buy there, unless you have the kind of product that is a short sales cycle, then you could, right? But at the show, you really get that, hey, I like the people, this company is credible, they look like a good match for us, and man, this product looks useful and it looks different, right? And then when you get into the money, it's just that it seems reasonably priced. It doesn't have to be the lowest price, Chuck. In fact, you rarely want to be the lowest price vendor. Buyers who buy on price are not loyal, right? So you would rather be maybe not the lowest price because you're not going to have loyalty. Hey, if you're selling a one and done, then maybe you don't care about loyalty, right? But the lowest price shoppers are also the least loyal. They will change vendors as soon as a lower price comes along. So make sure that you add a lot of value to the customer relationship, right? And the final question comes from Suzanne. Was this session recorded? You betcha. We always record these. This will be uploaded to the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center, and they'll be visible for replay viewing on the center as many times as you like, and you'll be able to access the ESRC here, and you can see the URL if you go to the site. Okay, so we've run a few minutes over. The majority of you have hung with me. Thank you so very much. Again, I feel your excitement. I feel your energy. Like Lisa and I are so excited to get back to face with you again. We cannot wait to see you in Chicago. My 2 closing thoughts here are, number 1 is please go to the ESRC. This is your centerpiece. This is where you go to find any and all the content you need to win at exhibiting. And watch your email. You'll get a survey link in a few moments. Give Lisa and I some feedback on today's session. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being part of the meeting. We're in this new year of 2022. Let's get out there. Let's reclaim our businesses. Let's reclaim our live trade shows. And let's make 2022 the year that we finally put a lot of this behind us. Lisa, any further thoughts?
No, just to reiterate things that you said, I can't wait to see you all in person. I know you miss our green jackets, so I look forward to seeing you. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you next month.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you on the ESRC. And by the way, you can submit questions to me at any time from the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center. This concludes our webinar on driving traffic and engaging visitors. We'll see you in Chicago. Bye.